This is the Microschool Minute, your weekly dose of microschooling news and events.
In this week's edition of the Microschool Minute, not every school visit by a United States Education Secretary makes headlines, but when Linda McMahon quietly toured the schoolhouse, a 140-student microschool on Long Island, it sent a clear signal. The future of education may be small, intentional, and radically different from the status quo. Founded in 2019 by Mimosa Jones Tunney, the schoolhouse rejects the industrial model of schooling. Instead, it runs on a custom-built 6,000-page document called the American Emergent Curriculum, crafted with precision, purpose, and a deep belief in child-centered learning. McMahon didn't name the visit during a recent press conference, but she did say this: "Education works best when it's closest to the child." At the schoolhouse, that isn't just a slogan, but it's a design principle. From early childhood programs to the soon-to-open middle school house, this nonprofit microschool is expanding with intention. McMahon's visit wasn't just symbolic, but it was a spotlight, one that's now shining directly on the microschool movement, inviting education innovators, policymakers, and community leaders to take a closer look. A federal judge just dismissed a high-profile lawsuit targeting three of the most well-known names in literacy education: Calkins, Fountas, and Pinnell. The accusation? That their popular curricula harm students by downplaying phonics and falsely claiming to be research-based. But the court pushed back, hard. Judge Richard Stearns ruled that deciding how to teach reading isn't the court's job. It belongs to educators, not lawyers. And evaluating a curriculum's research base would mean diving deep into educational theory, something that courts are not equipped or authorized to do. This case marks a turning point in the long-running reading wars. It's no longer just about balanced literacy versus the science of reading. It's about who gets to choose the path forward: families, states, researchers, publishers, or the people in the classroom doing the work. For education leaders, especially those designing or selecting curricula, the message is straightforward. Curriculum decisions carry weight, but courts won't weigh in. That responsibility remains squarely in the hands of classroom educators as trusted professionals. In 2023, public education spending hit $946 billion. Of that staggering total, only $5.4 billion came directly from parents via education savings accounts and ESA-like tax credits. That's just over 0.5% of the entire public education budget. But that sliver of funding is a spark, and it's catching fire. In many states, that future is no longer hypothetical. This year, families in Florida control nearly 10% of the state's public education dollars. That's not a trend line, that's a transformation. Just this week, Louisiana parents turned out in droves, urging lawmakers to fully fund Governor Landry's revamped school voucher system. The Louisiana Association of Microschools explained to reporters that this isn't just about giving parents more options, but about building a better future for our children, a benefit that will pay dividends across the region as we invest in the leaders, innovators, and citizens of tomorrow. ESA programs are expanding across dozens of states, and with them, a new ecosystem is emerging. When parents stop waiting for schools to innovate and start pursuing innovation themselves, the rules change. Publishers, platforms, and providers that once tailored their products to districts must now learn to serve families instead. It's a shift from bureaucracy to choice, from top down to bottom up. So here's the question. If parents directed 10% of public education funds nationally, $100 billion, then what would schooling look like? And what if it wasn't 10%? 20? 30? The future is nearer than you think. Texas just passed one of the largest public school investments in its history, an $8.5 billion school finance bill now on the governor's desk. It's a bold move. Nearly $4.2 billion of those dollars are earmarked for teacher pay increases. There's funding for early childhood programs, special education, career and technical learning, and even a new basic cost allotment to help cover rising expenses like insurance and transportation. But there's a catch. Superintendents across the state, from Thrall to Brownsville, are raising a red flag. While the dollars are welcome, strings attached limit local flexibility. Instead of increasing the basic allotment, which allows districts discretion, lawmakers created targeted funding streams with specific guidelines. District leaders are asking, how can we meet our community's unique needs when we're told exactly how to spend every dollar? This moment reveals a growing tension in public education: centralized funding versus local agency. And it's why microschools matter. Microschools, by design, operate with nearly full autonomy. They don't wait on legislative sessions to adjust to student needs. They don't need permission to innovate. While traditional districts are navigating restricted funding models, microschools are proving what's possible when educators and families lead the way. This $8.5 billion bill doesn't just reshape Texas education, but it's a signal. Local control, flexibility, and innovation are no longer luxuries. They're essentials. And microschools are already building that future. In a landmark move, the Texas House has also passed the Parental Bill of Rights, a bold and controversial education reform package that reshapes the relationship between families and public schools. At its core, a first-in-the-nation statewide ban on social transitioning for students in schools, prohibiting staff from acknowledging name or pronoun changes. But that's just one part of the sweeping legislation. The bill also restricts the teaching of gender identity and sexual orientation in K-12 public schools and gives parents stronger opt-in and opt-out powers. New grievance procedures and increased transparency mandates are also packed into the proposal. Supporters say it's all about restoring trust and control. Parents matter, and in Texas their rights will be protected, said Representative Jeff Leach, who led the bill in the House. Governor Abbott echoed the sentiment on social media, saying it's a big win for Texas families. The Smithsonian's new STARS, Scientists Taking Astronomy to Rural Schools program, is revolutionizing access to high-quality STEM education in rural and microschool settings. With a clear understanding of the gaps in resources and exposure faced by rural schools, the program offers a creative, engaging solution: astronomy. Through this initiative, rural microschools and homeschools gain access to professional-grade telescopes, solar and moon filters, and curriculum-aligned lesson plans, all backed by ongoing educator training. This approach empowers small, personalized learning environments to offer rich, hands-on science opportunities that were once out of reach. For microschool leaders and education innovators, STARS represents more than just a telescope, but it's a gateway to possibility. By inspiring curiosity through direct interaction with the cosmos, this program aligns perfectly with the personalized, interest-driven philosophy of microschooling. And as rural learners take control of the telescope and choose what to explore, they build not only academic knowledge, but also confidence and agency. Blossom Montessori School for the Deaf is this week's Microschool Showcase leader. They're redefining what's possible when innovative pedagogy meets inclusive access. Founded in 2003 by Julie Rutenberg and Colette Dirks, the Clearwater, Florida-based microschool combines the Montessori method with a deep commitment to deaf and hard-of-hearing students, empowering them to thrive at their own pace. Serving a diverse population from children of deaf adults, families, to students who simply need more one-on-one support, Blossom is a shining example of what can happen when education choice truly meets community need. Every one of its 250-plus students has benefited from Florida's Choice Scholarship ecosystem, allowing the school to operate as a beacon of equity, agency, and innovation. More than just a school, Blossom is a signpost pointing to the future. In a state where microschools, Montessori models, and special needs scholarships are on the rise, Blossom stands out not just for its longevity, but for its love-centered, student-first approach. And it shows how microschools can be both specialized and scalable, driven by passion and purpose. As the number of parent-directed education options grow, so too does the opportunity for schools like Blossom to serve learners who don't fit the mold and should never have to. Keep up the great work. If you know of a microschool or an organization that deserves a shout-out, drop a line and let us know. Thank you for tuning in to the Microschool Minute, your weekly review of microschooling news and events. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and if you'd like to support us, consider leaving a review. Until next week, happy microschooling!